Welcome back, everybody. We are live with Timeout with uSTADIUM. There's no Bree today. Again, everyone here takes vacays. When I take vacays, I do the show live. But when Nick takes vacays, he's off for the week. Bree's off for another week. Unbelievable what we got going on here. It's a mess at uSTADIUM. But no, we're here live, Nick and myself, like the old days, baby. I used to love just, do it up in my mom's basement, killing it. But yeah, we're live with Timeout with uSTADIUM. You could get us here every Thursday at 6 p.m. We go live for about an hour. We'll take your calls. So if you want to call in, if you have the guts to get on the air with me and Nick, and you think you have an opinion that you could back up, call in. We have the number below. You'll be able to call in. What's the number we got here? 678-675-5118. Yes. 678-675-5118. Call, and we will have you discuss topics live with Nick and myself. But we're in a busy time in the NFL right now. We're on the cusp of NFL free agency, which begins on Monday with the tampering period opening up. So this next Monday, teams can start contacting unrestricted free agents and potentially unofficially ink in some deals. It becomes official on Wednesday the 17th is when a player can officially sign with a team. But you know what happens. When Monday the tampering period opens up, you have all these unofficial signings. Everything leaks. You have like 50% of the signings, if not more, are done before the official league year starts on the 17th. We'll know a bunch of signings before that. I kind of hate it, Nick. I don't know what you think, but it kind of sucks when it's like it was fun when it used to open up the day of and you're at midnight and you
exactly.
used to. What were you refreshing Roto World and doing that?
Yeah,
whole
that was when like free agency was like, I don't know, it was before the Twitter times, man. It was, free agency started on a Sunday night at midnight leading into the week, and you couldn't get news like, sometimes you had to wait to see if it came up on like a message board or like ESPN.com, but you were like refreshing Roto World. It was nothing like this. I mean, I think they just need to end this like tampering period and just start it on a specific day at a specific time and let's go.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like
100%. You have those trades that have been done for over a month now. It's Stafford to the Rams, another
Wentz.
I'm forgetting. Wentz to the Colts. Like
it's
been done for over a month, and they're not going to be announced until Wednesday at 4 p.m. So yeah, like Alex said, the tampering period, it just makes no sense. It was a way for them to basically get out of any kind of like illegal contacting of agents at the combine, because the combine is when all these deals usually kind of get started, and there's a lot of momentum. Obviously we don't have it this year, so I'm curious to see if that's going to have any effect on when these deals get announced. I mean, obviously they've been contacting agents for the longest time. Let's say the Jets, for example, if they're talking to an agent for one of their free agents like Marcus May, for example, who you can talk to, obviously the agents of your own players all the time. But those guys represent other players that are free agents, and you could say, hey, we like Marcus May, but what about your other safety you have there, blah, blah, blah. So this stuff just happens. They're contacting agents all the time. So, I mean, it's just started at 1 and started a little early. Started March 1st and roll with it.
Agreed. Yeah, I agree with that 100%. I think it just delays the inevitable.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, you're on with Timeout with uSTADIUM. Make sure you like the stream, subscribe to uSTADIUM on YouTube, download the I do it wrong every time. Download the uSTADIUM app. I can't look on this. Download the uSTADIUM app. Yes, there we go. That's perfect right there. I love it. Hopefully we'll come back from break. You won't have the shirt on. I've been waiting for this for years, but
that's on the OnlyFans account. Subscribe to the uSTADIUM OnlyFans.
But all right, let's get into it. Earlier this week, we already had a big splash signing. The Dallas Cowboys brought back their boy Dak. Shout outs to Dak Prescott and his family and his agent. They did a great job there. I'm happy for them. He signed a massive 4-year, up to $164 million contract. It comes with $126 million guaranteed, with a record $66 million signing bonus, making Dak right now, Nick, the second highest paid quarterback in the NFL in terms of average annual value. Absolute value, as Gary Vee says. Nick, what are your thoughts on this deal? And was Dak a little bit overpaid? Because I'm going to give you my thoughts on that because I think he was a little bit. But Nick, what are your thoughts on the deal? And do you think Dak was a little bit overpaid?
I think it's smart business by both sides. Dak was able to get like the terms and the years and the, again, be the highest paid besides for Patrick Mahomes, obviously, who wasn't going to get Patrick Mahomes. I don't think Patrick Mahomes money. I don't think anybody is for a little while, but he topped Watson, he topped Wilson. Like you see on the graphic here. So he wanted that. He wanted the years, a certain amount of years, no trade clause, all that, can't be franchise tag. So he got those little terms and, conditions agreed to. For me, I think it's such a savvy move by Jerry Jones to get out in front, obviously, now of deals that are going to come with Lamar Jackson, these other quarterbacks, Josh Allen, who's going to look to get paid, and do it now before this massive TV deal comes into play where the cap is going to shoot up to like upwards of $230, $250 million is which they're expecting. So you have a guy in Dak Prescott who's going to be accounted for, let's say, $35, $40 million a year. And quarterbacks after him are going to start making 50 and 60. So it was smart, Jerry Jones, for him to do it now. You knew something was up behind the scenes when Jones agreed to a deal that quickly. Didn't even wait until the tag deadline hit. He just got in and got the deal done before, and they only signed the tag as a placeholder so that he technically couldn't be tagged again, which is part of the agreement. So Jerry knows what he's doing. He knows this cap is going to shoot up. He knows these contracts at quarterbacks are going to get bigger and bigger. And Dak got the terms and agreement. He also gets to get out of this deal and be a free agent again at 31, 32 years old. So he's going to get another big deal, whether that's with Dallas or with another team. So smart move really by every team involved. And I think I kind of was a little surprised that it happened so fast. I think everybody was kind of under the agreement, like he was going to get tagged and we were going to go through the shit again.
Yeah, literally, that's what I thought. I was so shocked. I couldn't believe that they paid him as much as they did, and they did it as fast as they did. To be honest, I don't think Dak is worth that money. I understand why the Cowboys paid him that, but what did he prove after last year to warrant that contract? Why didn't they pay him last offseason? I mean, he got hurt. It's not like he's right now. He's more battered. He's a lesser valuable asset due to his injury than he was the year before. So why wouldn't you just sign him when he wanted $37 million or whatever, rather than now it's $40+ million in AAV? So I don't understand the logic there. I think as a Cowboys fan, and I know Jerry backloaded a lot of that money, so he has the first couple years he's not getting hit so hard on the cap. But Jerry Jones, what the hell is Jerry Jones doing? How many guys are you going to pay? Why don't you make a stern move when it's time to make the move, like it was last offseason to pay Dak, not this offseason? And then you just end up, he gets hosed. He got hosed by Zeke. He got hosed by Dak. He got hosed by DeMarcus Lawrence. I mean, he got hosed by the middle linebacker, Amari Cooper. What's Jalen Smith? Smith. I mean, how many guys is this guy going to get hosed by? I mean, damn, speaking of, we were talking about OnlyFans before. I bet you girls on OnlyFans, they would love a guy like Jerry Jones on that site.
Sugar daddy.
Yeah. I mean, this guy pays everybody and their mother, literally. It's insanity. I understand the one person he should have paid was Dak. That makes sense. But you should have paid him last offseason. How much money does this guy have flying around is insane. The Cowboys, they are on they're on a burning bridge.
A path to nowhere.
That bridge is burning, and when it collapses, it's going to be bad. And they better hope that Dak can make it happen this year. I will say I do like Dak Prescott a lot. I like his personality. I like how he thinks about the game. He's a good person to have in the locker room. He cares about winning. So I like Dak, but I'm saying the money is it's crazy. And I don't know. Dak, to me, has he proven that he's a top 10 quarterback? I don't know. It's still up in the air. I mean, starting a team, you say who would you rather have, Dak or Kirk Cousins for a few years? I mean, they're pretty even in my opinion. And it's tough to say you'd rather have one versus the other. They just kind of get the job done and they're a little bit better than above average. And you have to remember this too. Dak has everything around him, or did at some point. He had a great offensive line. He had a great running back. He had 2-3 wide receivers. He had Witten there for a while. He has a system. He plays, you can call it indoors. Weather's not really a factor there in Jerry world. So, I mean, let's see what he does this year. I think the contract I was surprised by it. It makes sense to an extent, but I do think he was overpaid.
Yeah, I think what really kind of led Jerry Jones to realize how good he had it with Dak Prescott is when Dak got hurt. I mean, he was on pace to have like a record-breaking season. I know I hate the pace thing. It was only, a certain amount of games. I don't even know if it was 6 or 8 or whatever happened, but to see what happened when Dak went out and they went to Andy Dalton, who everybody would say, hey, this is a pretty good backup. It wasn't like they're going to, I don't know, like Luke Falk here, even though Dalton did end up getting hurt and they did have to go to like a Luke Falk kind of level of a guy. But, I think Jerry saw like, wow, this team is really bad without Dak Prescott. At least with him, we're not great. We're like a 9-7, 10-6 team. But, with him, they saw how bad it was. And, it's always about the next guy up. It's not really who it is. It's when you get to the market. So, I mean, I'm happy for Dak and, happy for the Cowboys that they kept him too. I think he deserves it.
Yeah, no, I'm with you there as well. I do think he deserves it, but I mean, it's wild. What's going on in Dallas is crazy with that money. That money's flying around everywhere. But all right, on to our next topic. And again, you're on with Timeout with uSTADIUM. You're tuned in. If you want to call us, the call-in number is below. I forgot it when we opened up. I still don't remember it. So you have to look below. You have to get on the live stream. Look at the number. There it is. 678-675-5118. Call into uSTADIUM. We will take our first caller after this next segment.
Hey.
Getting into craziness, more craziness in free agency. What is going on with Deshaun Watson and his situation in Houston? Today, the new head coach, David Culley, had his press conference and interviewed with some of the media. It was weird. It was strange, man. It was like, what the hell's going on? You didn't get the sense that Culley knew whether or not Watson wanted to stay. It seemed like he was making it seem like, oh, yeah, he's staying for sure. But he really doesn't know. Just trying to give the like fake vote of confidence. But yeah, we'll get into the clip now. We'll get into a little bit of what David Culley was saying today. It's important because if you get a sense from the head coach, and I got that sense today, Nick, I don't know if you agree, but it seemed like he pretty certain that Watson's out. He's basically just kind of lying through his teeth, trying to make it seem like he's staying, but he's really.
Hey, Coach Culley, you've said repeatedly the team is committed to Deshaun Watson. Is he committed to you and the team?
Yes, he is.
How do you know that?
Well, he's a Houston Texan, and again, I know that. I feel like that with the commitment that we've made to him, and I feel like that same commitment will be there with us also moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, the stuttering that I feel like, what I feel is bad for David Culley, honestly. Like, he didn't sign up for this. I mean, I guess you can say he almost, he somewhat did. He knew what was going on, but this guy's been coaching in the league for 40 years, was never going to get really another head coaching shot besides for this Texans job. But like, the Texans just need to step up to the plate here and realize, like, this guy's not coming back no matter what you do here. It doesn't matter who you hire, who you bring in on offense. It's not like you can go out and sign Kenny Golladay and all is forgiven with Deshaun Watson. It's not about the roster and about the coaching staff. It's a distrust with the front office and ownership. So Culley is just being the good soldier here and kind of like laying on the sword for ownership here. And I mean, he's just not cut out to kind of answer these questions, and you could tell with the stuttering. And I feel like, I don't know, but I don't know. I feel bad for him more than I feel bad for anything else.
Yeah, it didn't seem like he had any idea what the hell was going on. I mean, he's kind of typical of a new head coach that doesn't know what's happening. He's just kind of making it seem like his quarterback's there, but Deshaun's out. And Deshaun said this a million times, and everyone knows it, that Deshaun Watson is not going to be a Houston Texan come 2021. It's just not going to happen. So I don't see at this point, Houston, it's getting a little bit pathetic, I would think. Like, get over it. Like, he doesn't want to be there. Like, what are you holding on for? I get why they are to an extent, but like at this point, it's like, who the hell would want to play with an organization that's so desperate at this point? I mean, they just like trade him The Jets make the most sense. Trade him to the Jets, get 4 first-round picks, get Zach Wilson, and move on with the franchise. That's what you have to do. I don't understand what are they like going through here. I mean, it's insane at this point. If not, the Jets might move the pick somewhere else. You don't know what's going to happen. The NFL is a crazy world. You don't know how things play out.
Yeah, and the clip he spoke, I don't know, Ryan, if producer Splash has the clip where he was with Steve Weish and Jim Trotter earlier, where he said he's our quarterback right now. I don't know if you want to throw that up. That was the most interesting clip that I took, the most interesting statement that I took from it. So if you want to throw that one up, I thought.
Will Deshaun Watson be the starting quarterback for the Houston Texans in 2021?
He is our starting quarterback as of right now. He is our starting quarterback. Things happen between now and then we'll see what happens.
See,
Jimmy,
Coach, you just opened the door.
He hit us with the right now.
You just opened the door with the right now. Exactly. You've been around, Coach. You know better.
He is our starting quarterback
right now.
Mm-hmm. That's right now, and hopefully in the future.
But Coach, we have seen the report, and we know they're coming from some credible sources. I said he told you in your meeting, and he's let it be known to other people that he does not want to return to the Houston Texans. In fact, we had a good friend of his, Jalen Ramsey, on last week. They're represented by the same agent. He said he doesn't think Deshaun is going to suit up for the Texans again. The feeling in the building. I mean, is it you sound positive, but everything we're hearing is sounding negative in terms of his relationship and wanting to return?
Well, this is how I answer that, is that basically with us, everything that's concerned with us inside this building, with the way we are going about our business right now is that it is positive. I'm excited to be here. One of the reasons I'm excited to be here is because of Deshaun Watson. And regardless of what's happening outside this building, which
I mean, he's gone. I mean, it's just
like right now, and then he laughs about it, and he's like, he's our quarterback. And Trotter said, like, after he tweeted, he was like, I'm pretty confident that Deshaun, after my conversation with Cully, I feel pretty strongly that he's gone for sure. So I mean, I don't know how much like writing on the wall you need to see before you realize, look, this isn't happening. Like it's going to be time, and once the Texans come to realize it, and it's funny because I know it's a big thing on Twitter, like the Jack Easterby burner account that everybody's like convinced that's out there. I was actually DMing with that account yesterday, and I could show some of the screenshots. It was a very weird conversation, and I asked some people that I know around the league, hey, is this really Easterby's like burner? And they think it's a family member of Easterby or a family member of Caserio, because the account is so pro Easterby and Caserio. And like the things he was saying to me, it was just so strange along the lines of like how like well-liked Caserio and Easterby are. It was almost like promoting these guys like so hard. And he was saying like Watson hasn't told us. He was saying like Watson hasn't told the Houston Texans he wants out yet. And until that happens, there won't be any kind of change of plans. And this guy was speaking as if I was talking to like Jack Easterby. And I spoke with him for like an hour through DMs yesterday. I don't want to. Like,
you did?
Just for the sake of like the conversation with the guy, and I don't know who it really is. He didn't even say when I asked him, but it was pretty strange. And I could post some of them. I'll show you, Frank, after for sure, and I can post a few of them that I feel comfortable posting. But it was a very weird conversation.
What'd you guys talk about?
Talked about the Watson situation. It was like, I was like, look, like, he's not coming back here. It's like, oh, well, he hasn't, until he says anything otherwise, there's going to be no, let me pull one up. He says, until he says otherwise, he goes, the tactics by Deshaun Watson and his representation are selfish and unprofessional, but predictable. Nick Caserio has over 2 decades of experience working with agents and players. He said, you seem like a smart guy. Ask yourself this question. What happens when a team has better assets to offer in a trade? At what point does the asset become too valuable to trade? The media loves to create content for their talk shows, which I guess we're doing right now. But then he said to me another weird one. I asked him, I says, I did this specifically to see like how in the know this person is. I said, does John McClain, who we had on, who's been all over the place talking about Watson, does he know this entire situation? He's been vocal about what the Texans should do. and being that the Jets are the only trading spot for him. He said, John McClain is an extremely well-respected and responsible reporter. The trade scenarios that John McClain has reported are only accurate in the situation that is if the Texans change their stance on the commitment to Deshaun Watson.
Oh,
so, like,
wow.
I have like 30 different messages from this burner account. The account is JC Prepper. So it's at John C Prepper 98. It's got a Texans logo. It's like everybody on Twitter thinks it's an Easterby burner because, I mean, when they did the whole retrieve your email, it was like J like you blurted out so it came up to like an Easterby account. So I mean, I found it interesting. I was just bullshitting with him for like a half an hour last night. I'll show you the rest of it, but it's everything about this entire situation is weird. And I just feel like before it gets like even worse, I don't know how it can get worse, but I feel like they just need to move on and trade the guy. And I think they will before the draft. I don't think this is going to carry on any longer. And the longer it goes, the better a situation a team like the Jets and the Dolphins are in, because they don't need to make a decision on a quarterback right now, where you have the Panthers, the Broncos, Washington. They need to figure out what they're going to do at quarterback now. Are they going to keep Teddy? They don't want him. I know Matt Rule said they do, but I mean, it seemed to me more of like the Josh Rosen's our guy BS that the Cardinals did a few years ago before the draft. And Washington, they don't have a quarterback. They have Heineke on a 2-year deal as a backup. And then you have the Bears, who are obsessed about finding a quarterback. So those teams need to figure out now what's going to happen, and they don't have the luxury of waiting, where the Jets can just go and either keep Darnold, which they're not going to, or draft Zach Wilson or Fields, and the Dolphins can just roll with Tua. So those two teams can sit back and wait for the Texans to be ready to trade. The other teams kind of can't.
Yeah. The one interesting dynamic that's playing out right now, though, is the longer that the draft scouting period goes, the more love the world has for Zach Wilson, which having the number 2 pick becomes even more valuable, given that people are just gushing over Zach Wilson to the point that some people are saying that they think Zach Wilson's a better prospect than Trevor Lawrence is, which is insane to think about. I mean, it's you always have every couple years or so, you have that one quarterback that shoots up out of nowhere. We had Baker Mayfield do it a few years ago. You had RG3 do it a while back. It's just they come out of a situation where you don't think they're going to be in the top 5, and then they end up going 2 or 1 overall. So it's so crazy how things go. And Zach Wilson, in many ways, is probably likely going to be that quarterback we look at this year that maybe is the number 2 pick, and it seems like he will be. But yeah. So again, you're on with Timeout with uSTADIUM. Make sure you like that dang stream. Give us that thumbs up, please. And we will take. Yeah, subscribe to the channel. Get on uSTADIUM's YouTube. Get on our app. Get on everything with uSTADIUM on it. We're going to start giving out some T-shirts soon, too. You got to get the gear up and running. That's how we roll. Make sure you give that like. I just saw a like pop up. Nice. Liking it. And yeah, we're going to take our first caller tonight. The number to call in. Hurry up and get on that phone line. We have a bunch of people waiting, but we're going to take a caller who wants to talk about what we're talking about, and that's Deshaun Watson. So if you want to talk about Deshaun Watson, call in right now. We're going to take the first caller ever in uSTADIUM history. It's 678.
They deserve an award.
675-5118. All right, our first caller is going to get a reward. You know what that reward's going to be? You are going to get, if you live in New York City, if you don't, we'll give you a shirt. If you live in New York City, you will get a shirt, and I will buy you Cutlets & Co. sandwich, a Cutlets & Co. sandwich, which is soon to be an official food partner of uSTADIUM and Nick and myself.
Had a few cutlets in our days.
Yeah, I had a cutlet this morning or like late afternoon. I can eat cutlets in the morning and the afternoon. You don't know what a chicken cutlet is. I feel bad for you. But yeah, Cutlets & Co. We will get you Cutlets & Co. lunch if you're in New York. And yeah, I believe we do have our first caller, Julian. Hopefully you're in New York City so you can get that cutlet, boy. But we're going to have our first caller. Throw him on. Julian, you are the first official caller on Timeout with uSTADIUM, my man. First official caller. How you doing, brother?
Good. How are you? I feel very special right now.
You should.
I mean, you are special, dude. Man. Yeah, this is huge, dude. Where are you from, by the way?
I'm from Richmond, Virginia.
Oh man, have you ever had a chicken cutlet?
No, I have not. I don't even know what that is.
Oh
my God,
like the
man!
fourth person on the show that's. We can't even freeze it and send it. It wouldn't be the same.
You know what, man?
We'll send you the shirt.
I love this. I love the South, man. I'm a big fan of the South. I was in Florida a few weekends ago, and I loved it. But then the food down there, you guys gotta get with the times with the food, man. Gotta get Italianized, as I call it. We gotta start going down there, Nick. Us Italians, we stayed in New York for too long.
Is Virginia technically considered the South?
Border, yeah.
Yeah. What's up, Julian? What's going on, man?
All right, what do you got, Julian?
Deshaun Watson and the Jets.
Yeah, what's your question? Sorry.
So I mean, I don't really see like a realistic reason for the Dolphins to trade for Deshaun Watson. I mean, not like realistic. Like I think they can, but I don't think the Jets are going to give up letting Miami get Deshaun Watson. So they have to play like twice a year against him and Josh Allen. Like we have the number 2 pick, we got 4 first rounders, and over the next 2 years, like I don't think we can let the Dolphins get Deshaun Watson. Like I think we need to force it to Carolina, or the Jets just need to get him.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what the Texans want, right? They would love for the Jets at 2 and the Dolphins at 3 to get into this bidding war and get as many picks out as they can and pit them against each other. Like, hey, if you don't offer another second-round pick, I'm sending them to your division rival, and you're going to have to play them twice a year for the next 10 years. So that's exactly, if once Nick Caserio starts taking calls, I mean, that's what a smart GM would do, is pit these 2 teams against each other. And I agree. I think that's more of the reason for the Jets to really go all out, because if you put him on, Watson on Miami, which is a solid team, I wouldn't call them a really good team. I think they're a little overhyped by the media. I think Flores is a good coach. I think he's got a good thing going. But if you put out Watson on that team, you're talking about at least a 10, 11, 12 win team every year, I think. And, if the Jets want to do anything within the next 5 years, like you're going to go against Josh Allen and the Bills and Deshaun Watson and the Dolphins, and Belichick's not going to be down for long. So, I mean, you're talking about a move that could potentially mean the Jets are going to stay in the cellar of the AFC East for the next 10 years again. So, it is. I agree with you. They can't afford to let Miami get him. So it's super important for the Jets to, if Douglas says, I don't know if 3 first-round picks, 2 2s is too much to give. I don't know. Maybe it puts us in a bit of a hole. Like, you can't think like that when there's a guy like Deshaun Watson available.
Yeah, for sure.
And you also have to consider this, too. There's only a handful of teams that are actually able to give up 4 first-round picks in the next 3 years. So it's going to be one of those teams, obviously, because the Texans have to do what they can to get the most back for Deshaun Watson. So this isn't like an unlimited pot. It's not like every team can make this move, because there's only a certain amount of teams that have 4 first-round picks over the next 3 years. You can't trade a first-round pick 4 years out. It's not allowed anymore. So the Jets are the one team that has 2 this year, and they can do 4 in the next 2 years, right?
Yeah, they have 2 this year and 2 next year. Miami has 2 this year, but they only have 1 next year. The Lions have 2 next year and the 2 the following year, so they could technically do it if they wanted to, but they're not. That's not happening. Really, I mean, the only way something like the Jets get screwed in that situation is if Watson says, "I'm not going to the Jets. I'm only going to Miami." So, I mean, that's the one situation that's unheard of. But appreciate the call, dude, and send an email to f@uSTADIUM. We'll get you that shirt, man.
Okay, thank you. Have a great day.
Of course, man. You too.
Woo, caller number 1. Let's go.
Of course, it's a Jets question.
Yeah, of course. I mean,
what else would it be?
Basically, we're going to change the uSTADIUM green to Jets green. I think it's time.
We just did it subtly so people didn't know, but I mean, it is a Jets green anyway.
And it had to be green. There was no
it had to be green and black, of course.
Yeah, I know. All right, so getting more into this offseason, let's talk about free agency.
Finally,
we're like, a half hour into the show. We haven't even discussed free agency. Free agency this year is going to be crazy. It's going to be bananas. Actually, you know what, Nick? Before we get into free agency, let's get another caller on, and another Deshaun. Let's go back to back.
Right,
get double J. Let's go, and then we'll go to free agency. Bring him on. We got James, some Deshaun Watson talk. James, hop on the line, and then we'll get into free agency after. Let's go.
Is James alive? Hello, there he is. What's up, man?
Hey, how you guys doing? I think what's getting lost in all of this is the value of the number 2 overall pick. And I think having the conversation, hey, how you guys doing?
Good, man. We hear you. Go ahead.
Yeah, we hear you.
Great. You know what I think is getting lost in all of this is Deshaun Watson conversation is the value of the number 2 overall pick and the leverage of negotiation. Because I think what you could do is you can go to the Texans, right? And you could say, all right, you can watch us take the second best quarterback on our board and potentially your board. And then, you'll be left with the third best option if you choose to trade to Miami and then get your pick back right from the Laramie Tunsil trade. Or you can choose, to take the number 2 overall pick and, maybe we offer them another one. But do we really have to sell the house here? I think we have more leverage than we're leading on. And that's all I want to say.
Well,
it's an interesting thought. It is, for sure.
It is. The one thing is going to be what does the market dictate? I mean, if Houston's going out there and they're getting offers from other players and other teams that are, at least 2 first-round picks and maybe a third first rounder, I mean, then it's going to dictate what they're going to ask the Jets for. So it really depends. I mean, I don't think we even know what Deshaun Watson's market value is at this point. I think everyone's sort of speculating. We do know that Matt Stafford came with 2 first-round picks. We know that.
It's
Stafford,
tough, though, because it's tough, though.
And Wentz. We know Wentz and Stafford. That's it. I mean, we don't know anything else.
Stafford one is hard to it's hard to kind of pit the two together because it was 2 future picks, not one this year. Plus, it came along with the Goff contract, so it's hard to if you're using that as a base, to put together a trade for Watson. Watson's younger, much better, but you're talking about future picks and a quarterback contract in Goff, where it kind of also saturates the package of what they got back. But in terms of and what people aren't forgetting, I've been tweeting this, posting on the app, is Justin Fields, his agent is David Mulugheta. I think the last thing that the Texans want to do is end up drafting Justin Fields after what just happened with Watson, right? You don't want to get into another long-term commitment with the Mulugheta client. That puts the Jets' number 2 pick even more up on a pedestal in a possible trade, because they can go and get Zach Wilson at 2. Because what if the Jets say, all right, forget it, we're just taking Wilson at 2, go ahead and trade him to Miami and enjoy Justin Fields, right? So it's also another bit of leverage that the Jets have. But I mean, I think it's going to be interesting for sure. I think it's going to be 3-1s, but I'm not sure. It's just logical that it is. I don't think 4. 4 is almost impossible, man.
4-1s.
I don't know. It might be 3 and a player.
Darnold's going to go. What was our bet? We had a cutlet wedge bet. What was it with Darnold? The trade?
At least a second-round pick.
And I was saying, you were saying a first, though.
No, I was saying a 2. You said you said less than a 2, or they're not going to get it 2.
They're not going to get it 2.
Yeah, they're going to get it 2. They already have. I could tell you this.
I said they're not going to get a 1. They're not going to get a 1 for
No, you said a 2. We can go back on the tape for sure about that one.
I said they're.
Flash, do you remember this? I wish Brianna was here.
I said it's not going to be a first. You thought it was going to be a first.
No, I didn't. Never since. Even from Schefter said it, that they think they can get a late 1. I said no. 2 and a 5.
This is typical Patty fashion. You're literally.
I can't wait to prove you wrong. I can't wait for this.
I said
I cannot wait.
I said they're not gonna get a 1 for sure. They're gonna get a 2. Now you're
Ryan,
saying,
if you remember, put it in the chat or come up. Let us know if you remember this.
Unbelievable. You people put words in my mouth left and right. I don't know what the hell's going on.
You're like Francesa right now. We're gonna get the tapes and prove
Unbelievable.
it. But no, I know the 49ers are aggressively interested in Sam Darnold. I can say that without a doubt. I was told that. And that there's an offer on the table from the Niners for Darnold. So we'll see what comes out of that and what it is. But no, there's no trade agreed to, which I saw these rumors on Twitter about, which Jeff fans are going crazy. That's not true. They're talking, and the Niners really want Darnold. So we'll see.
Yeah. Well, yeah, getting more into the offseason, the biggest period of the offseason is coming up. We have free agency that begins this next Monday, the 15th. It opens up with the tampering period, and that'll go up until Wednesday when the official league year starts, where signings can become official. We're going to know between Monday, Tuesday into Wednesday who's going where for the most part. Everything basically gets leaked these days. There's nothing you could do about it. But we have a ton of juicy free agents. Let me tell you, we have offensive linemen like Trent Williams, Joe Thuney, Corey Linsley. We have defensive studs like Shaq Barrett, Anthony Harris, Bud Dupree, Yannick Ngakoue. And then we haven't even gotten into wide receivers. You have available wide receivers like Kenny Galladay, who the Lions didn't want to tag, and Juju Smith-Schuster doesn't seem like he's going back to Pittsburgh, and Will Fuller and Curtis Samuel. Without getting into too much of the list, you can go to the uSTADIUM app, always, uSTADIUM.com, and you can check out our list there. We keep it constantly updated. You'll see it in the breaking news ticker, so just go to uSTADIUM, the app, and click on breaking, and you'll see our live ticker that's breaking with all of the up-to-date info on who's signing where, who's getting tagged, who's accepting the tag, and who's not. But, Nick, give me right now, just list out some free agents that you really like. It doesn't have to be 3. It doesn't have to be 6. I know we did that. Let's do top 5. Just give me free agents that you really like and that are potentially undervalued, that you can see a team investing in and getting back more than what their price tag comes in at.
Yeah, because that's what it's about, right? In free agency and that's where you run into trouble when you're teams like the Raiders who just cut their entire 2019 free agency class in like 3 days. So it's all about paying for and investing in someone what you think they're going to do in the future, not paying for what they've put up, on the back of their football cards, right? So I look at guys who are under the age of like 27 is that sweet spot, who I think if they go into the right situation, get a, over 75, 80% rep rate. I think those are the guys that are attractive to me in free agency. And obviously the money plays a part. Like, if you're talking about Shaq Barrett hitting the open market, then everything goes out the window. You go out and get this guy because he's a top 5 pass rusher in football, and he proved it on the big spot in the playoffs and Super Bowl too. So all that goes out the window. Same with like Kenny Galladay because he is young. You have a little bit of the worry with the injury, but he's a top, 10 receiver when he's healthy. Same with Joe Thuney and Corey Linsley. I think those are 2 plug-and-play guys who are going to be with you for the next 5. They're going to play out the length of this contract. They're not going to be guys that you cut in 3 years because they didn't live up to it. But there are 5 guys that I like, not the burger chain because it sucks, but there's 5 guys that I really like in free agency this year. One is Trey Hendrickson, defensive end, edge rusher from the Saints. He's up there with Joe Thuney on the list of guys that I really want for the Jets. I think he's a guy like Shaq Barrett who played his best. You saw him show little signs here and there of what you liked. Then he got over 65% of the snaps this year, Hendrickson, and he had 13.5 sacks. Same with Barrett. He didn't really blossom until he went somewhere else. Yeah, he hits on all 3 of those elite traits of what you want: strength, speed, all the edge rushing moves you look for. This guy's a guy, he stays healthy. Jamal Williams, I know you're not a huge fan, Frank, but I think he's someone, again, 25 years old. You put him in the right offense. When he was given I think over 25 carries or 20 carries when Aaron Jones was out, he had like average 101 yards per game. Pass blocks, catches out of the backfield, good leader guy. I also like a cheap deal. If you miss out on the top free agents, I like Josh Reynolds from the Rams. I think he's a guy you can get relatively cheap in like $4 to $6 million. Yeah, he's not. Yep. You're not going to pay double-digit money for this guy. He's not going to come in and be your 1 or 2, but he's a guy who's going to come up big for you. He'll maybe catch 5-6 balls a game. He had a nice role on the Rams, but they kept like bringing in different guys. They went and drafted Van Jefferson, so he's going to be available. I like Romeo Okwara too, the Notre Dame pass rusher. He went to the Lions. He played well there. They went and signed Trey Flowers, gave him big money, and for the most part, Okwara was a better player than Trey Flowers was over the length of his 2 years, I think, when they played together. He's another guy who's going to go on and get the 75 to 80% of the reps, and he's going to play big for you. He's going to probably play the contract that he gets. And Sidney Jones, the corner from the Eagles, he was pretty underwhelming with the Eagles. Then he went on to Jacksonville and had a really good year last year. I think if he's a guy who you kind of can put at that cornerback 2 spot, I don't think he's going to be your like lockdown number 1. But again, a guy who's going to get a decent deal, probably pay him like $7, $8, $9 million a year, and you'll get a pretty solid player who's going to play out that length of the contract. Because again, he is a young player. But those are the guys that I look for in free agency where, unless you're a team like the Bills, who they just signed Matt Milano, which is huge for them, 4 years, $44 million. to keep him off the open market. But they're a team that can go out and sign like a Ryan Kerrigan. I know you love Frank too as well. I like him too.
Absolutely.
But he's not a guy you really want to invest in if you're a majority of teams, unless you really have like Super Bowl aspirations. And there's really like 5 or 6 teams like that. If you're the rest of the league, signing a guy like him probably isn't in your best interest, because he's a hired gun for one season, right? You want to get him out there as a DPR, the Rex Ryan term, the designated pass rusher. You want to play him in, different spots of the game, third down guys, obviously passing downs, but he's not a guy you want to really invest in. Those 5 guys, I think, like Young, I think their best football is going to be played in another spot. So those are the guys that I'm looking forward to seeing where they land, and they can help our Jets, obviously all of them. So I don't know. Is there any guy you specifically like this year?
But Joe Thuney, I have a question for you. If Joe Thuney is that good and you want to pay him this much money, why didn't the Patriots keep him? You know how the Pats are with offensive linemen. If there's one thing Belichick knows, he knows offensive linemen. When they leave, they don't perform so hot. Look at Nate Solder when he went to the Giants. I mean, it's been a disaster. So even though they're saying they're going to keep him now,
I think it's a worry.
What is up with that? Yeah,
I definitely think it's a worry. What with Thuney for me is, obviously, he played a year without Scarnecchia. He's gone. Obviously, Dante Scarnecchia is like the offensive line god. He's gone in New England now. With Thuney, he gives you the opportunity. He gives you the ability to play 4 spots on the offensive line, right? So he's played both guard spots. He's played center, and he's played right tackle. And he plays them at a high level. He's not just a guy where you're like, oh shit, we need somebody to play at left right guard. We got to put Thuney over there, and hopefully he gets by. Same at right tackle. If you put him next to like a Mekhi Becton, you run the ball like 30 times behind those guys. Like, you're talking about as good of a left side for the next 5 years that you could look for. I don't think Thuney's a guy that's going to go somewhere and underperform because he was a Patriot. Like, he was strong last year. He didn't have like the best year, but he's never hurt. He's got big game experience, obviously playing with the Pats. He plays 4 positions on the line. The Jets actually brought in Scarnecchia's son too as an assistant. So that's a little bit of a relationship there too. I think Thuney's going to actually be the highest paid offensive, well, besides Trent Williams, but obviously he's a left tackle. But I think Thuney's going to break the record for guards. I think it's either going to be the Jets, the Dolphins, the Ravens, or Chargers who are going to be in on him, and possibly the Jaguars, depending what they do with Andrew Norwell. I'm not too worried about that though, Frank. I don't think he's a guy where I see him kind of just going and mailing it in. Solder had the injuries. He had obviously the issue with his son and the health, his own health, that he opted out last year. And he was older. Thuney's 28 years old. I think Solder signed at 31. So you can get him, and he's playing guard, not left tackle. It's a big difference. So I think Joe Thuney's if there's a guy you do want to pay, and maybe you don't think he's going to be as good as he was in New England, you can kind of live with that little bit of a decline because he is that good at his position. I think Thuney's a guy who you kind of make that sacrifice with.
Well, playing off of the offensive guard situation, who I would invest in, Nick, is Kevin Zeitler, who the Giants just cut.
Love Zeitler.
Give me Kevin Zeitler. You're gonna get a fraction on the dollar versus what you'll pay Thuney. You'll have someone that can come in who's proven he can play ball. I don't know why the Giants cut him. I know it's like a big salary cap saving move for them, but you don't cut offensive linemen that performed well. Sure, he didn't do that well the second half of last year. I saw some of his PFF numbers were quite low, but you don't cut a guy like that. I mean, that's why the Giants are where they are, because they're cutting guys like Kevin Zeitler to save money to do what? What are you going to do?
To pay Leonard Williams $20 million tag. That's why.
It's unbelievable. Yeah, not a great move right there. Yeah. A couple other guys I do like. I like the vets who need another shot. I think the way that just sometimes the cookie crumbles, they don't get their shot. So I like guys like T.Y. Hilton. I like Patrick Peterson. I like bringing in a guy who has some experience, Xavier Rhodes. Bring in someone who's performed at the highest level and can come in and can be great. Ryan Kerrigan, who you mentioned before, I'm a big fan of. And honestly, Aaron Jones is my number one, I think, free agent. I know, Nick, you like Jamal Williams. I love Aaron Jones. I don't see someone that can get the ball as often as he does and make explosive big plays. This guy, whenever he touches the ball, he's a threat to go 60 yards, literally. He's a home run threat anytime he touches the ball. He was one of the most dangerous running backs in the NFL the last few years. And the Packers, the way they play offense, isn't really conducive to that kind of running back. The Rodgers isn't a dink and dunk style guy. The running backs, they use them sporadically. They don't even need running backs, the Packers, for the most part. They want to go there and just chuck it, and that's fine. That works sometimes. But I think Aaron Jones, if he goes into the right system, you're going to get a guy out of the backfield catching balls that does things like Alvin Kamara, but then on the ground runs with the maneuvers through traffic and can run up the middle like a Zeke. So you get a hybrid back that can do everything. And Aaron Jones, very overlooked. I know there's a risk with running backs, but to me, he's clearly the best offensive player in this free agency. And the more I've been thinking about it, I just think he's number one on my list. And I would pay him a fairly good amount of money if you're in a win now situation. If you're the Jets, it doesn't make any sense. Yeah, you're not going to pay someone who's going to be.
The Packers got to find a way to bring him back. Like they have to, especially with what they did with Rodgers last year, how they've not spent to surround him with talent in the past 5 or 10 years. Like they need to obviously, and he was pissed. Rodgers. There was talks of him going somewhere else. Like you got to go out and you got to get this guy. You have to bring, unless he doesn't want him, unless he doesn't really vouch for him, like he's not like a priority. But you got to figure out a way to get it done and bring him back. Like cut some, make some, difficult decisions on the defensive side of the ball. You have to surround Rodgers with guys because he's only got another year or two, like probably in Green Bay. And why are you going to let his best, besides for Adams, his number 2 guy go?
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. I can't believe they're going to let him go, but I think he's out of there. I think the writing's on the wall there. They're trying to do some different things in Green Bay. So, all right, Nick, we're going to play. Linked. Yeah, they are.
Miami's been linked to him.
And I could see him going there. Miami's been trying to find that running back, and they were switching in guys left and right the last couple seasons. So I could see them wanting to settle on that and overpaying a guy like Aaron Jones just kind of coming. But with that being said, Nick, let's do a little bit of a free agent. Free agent pick 'em. I'm going to give you 3 guys, and you pick which one you'd want. How about them apples?
Good with me.
I know you don't eat apples, but
no. Let's get a pie.
Nick, when's the last time you ate an apple? Seriously, like you just had an apple.
In the fall when I went apple picking. We took Luca apple picking, unless they're in a pie.
All right, let's go.
I hate these things, by the way. These what are they called? AirPods? Sorry, go ahead.
Dude, I was on a city bike the other day and I dropped an AirPod. 2 days later, I'm on a city bike. I dropped my wallet. Now, I'm in New York City, so you know what happens when you drop a wallet. Someone picks it up and starts spending your money fast. Drop my wallet. Within an hour, some lady and her kids go to Uptown in Harlem and spend $1,000 at a shoe store. I mean, are you kidding me? Like, go to Whole Foods or something. Buy some food. What are you buying? Shoes are shoes, but like they're buying Jordans and stuff. I'm like, come on. Go to Whole Foods. I'm gonna get the money back anyway, but come on. It's $1,000 on my credit card. I don't even have it. I don't even know how they spend it. I don't even have $1,000 on my credit card. I don't know what the hell. I don't know what was going on there. But
sorry to take you off track there.
No, it's fine.
I knew you wanted a rant.
Oh my God! That's New York City for you. You never catch a break in this city. If something like that happens, you drop a wallet. No one's gonna come and be like, "Oh, hi, is this?" Wallet, yeah, I found your wallet. Sorry, can I meet up with you?
They might give it back to you, but the cards and cash will be missing.
Yeah, literally, it's insane. All right. And by the way, I knew it was a lady and her kids buying Jordans because I called the store. So if you're wondering, I actually called the store that they were buying from. I asked the guy, what did they buy? Did you not think it was some older lady using the name Francesco on a credit card? Like, did you not put 2 and 2 together? It's not like she spent $100. She spent $950 or something.
Wow.
But whatever. All right, Nick, let's do it. Free agency, pick 'em. Corey Davis, Juju Smith-Schuster, Curtis Samuel. You need to pick one.
It's a great one. I'm going to go with Samuel just because he can do multiple things. I'll rank them. Samuel, Davis, Juju.
All right. Carl Lawson, Trey Hendrickson, or Yannick Ngakoue?
God, those are my 3 top edge guys outside of Barrett. I'm going to go with Hendrickson. Age, less tread on the tires, and I think he projects better. Yannick is probably the best one, but I'm a little bit worried about giving him a big deal just because of what you've seen over the past 2 years. Really like all 3 of them. And then Lawson's like the perfect mesh of the both of them. Like, I really like all 3 of them. I'd probably go Hendrickson, Lawson, Yannick, 1, 2, 3.
All right.
That's going to be by
I don't
far
know.
the
I
least.
think Lawson is,
that
a
one
little bit
people are
overlooked.
going to disagree.
Yeah.
I agree. I like Lawson a lot.
All right, these three right here: William Jackson III, Shaquille Griffin, and Richard Sherman, our boy.
God, I love Sherman. I would put if I'm a team that wants if I'm a team with that 2-year window, Sherman, Jackson, Griffin.
Yeah, I agree with that. Let's go to some offensive assets. Let's go Antonio Brown, James Conner, and Kyle Rudolph.
A.B. Rudolph Connor.
A.B. Rudolph Connor.
I don't want Connor. I don't think he's any good at all.
All right, let's go down the list here. We'll go three corners right here. Brian Poole, Xavier Woods, Jason Verrett.
Verrett, Poole, Woods. Again, Verrett's in a shorter window because of the injury concern. Poole's very limited because he plays on the inside, and Woods is kind of like a combo safety corner guy. I'll stick with Verrett.
Okay. All right, you need a quarterback for 1 year. 1 year only.
I knew this one's coming.
Alex Smith, Jameis Winston, or Mr. Magic, Ryan Fitzpatrick.
It's funny because Smith will win you games and get to the playoffs. Fitz is going to have huge games, but something's going to happen to him where they just missed the playoffs. And then Winston is the youngest guy, but it's a 1 year thing. So I'm going to go Alex Smith, Winston, and Fitz because I know Fitz isn't going to get you to the playoffs. Like something's going to happen where like he has a great 16 games and then week 17, like something happens like last year where he came down with COVID, unfortunately, even though Tua was going to start anyway, but they would have pulled Tua out of that game for sure with the 3 interceptions in the first half. And, hope Fitz had some magic in him, but I'll take Alex Smith.
Okay. I think Ryan Fitzpatrick's going to go somewhere that's ready to insert him in as a starter. Is that true with the Patriots? I was hearing are the
I
Pats?
I could see that.
That would be something. Honestly, I don't think it's a bad idea. He's been in the AFC East his whole life, so why not
every
just
team in the AFC East except for the Pats?
Literally. I mean, it makes total sense. He's played in all those stadiums. He gets the whole, the environment that is required to play in that division, which is tough. That is another thing. The AFC East is a tough division to play in because you're playing in New England, you're playing in Jersey with the swirling winds and all the trash flying around everywhere.
Life.
Yeah, it's just
life is tough. And then Buffalo is as hard as a road game you can have.
Yeah. All right, so we have another caller. Oh my, we're gonna have 3 callers tonight. This is our boy didn't call in though. Michael Palace was supposed to call in. He was on hold. He was the first caller, but he dropped out. Mike, if you want to call in, I want to speak with you. I have a qualm with you. So Mike, if you hear,
you got a bone to pick with you, Mike.
Yeah. But yeah, we have another caller on. This caller apparently wants to talk about my man Bud Dupree. Let's see what he says.
That's another one we didn't talk about. Jeez. Yeah. 8 years old, coming off an injury.
All right, Jacob, you're on with Timeout with uSTADIUM. What's up, brother?
Another J? That's crazy.
Yeah, 3 J's. It's like you before you go to sleep, Nick. 3 J's, and you're in the sack,
What's up, Jacob?
Hey, what's up, Jacob?
Where do y'all think he's going to land? Out of top 3 teams.
Bud Dupree?
Where Dupree's going to go?
Yeah.
I could thought of that.
I think Bud Dupree. I think Bud Dupree. I think he's going to go to a team like the Miami Dolphins that are going to give him a lot of money, that have a lot of salary cap, and they're going to give him that big deal. I mean, Bud Dupree's coming in this as a highly touted pass rusher, which you don't see quite often. So he's going to get a big boy contract.
Or on the contrary, he's going to, because he's coming off the injury. Is he going to sign a 1 year deal to basically prove that he's healthy, come back at 29, and then get that huge deal? I think it's either going to be one of those two, Frank. I think it's going to be he's going to sign that big 5 year deal, getting 16 to 18 million a year, or sign that 1 year, $15 million all guaranteed to go somewhere, rehab, get back, prove that he's the guy who had 8 sacks in 11 games last year, and then really cash in on a good team like the Colts or the Buccaneers if they lose Shaq Barrett.
Do you know where PFF has him going? PFF came out with an article earlier today with 2021 landing spots. Nope.
Colts?
Our squad.
I would definitely take him for sure.
They have him going to the Jets on a 1 year, $15 million deal.
They have him going for 1 year?
Yeah, 1 year, 15.
I don't think I would go to the
I don't
Jets
see that,
to
though.
kind of hopefully to rehab my career. It's been the opposite lately. If you go to the Jets, that's where the careers go to die. But shit,
Jacob, where do you think he's going?
Honestly, I would say the Titans, only because they're cutting a lot of their players. They create a lot of cap space right now.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. Like I'm kind of envisioning teams. And Frank, when you said Miami, I could totally see that. The Colts make sense from a scheme fit and like what he would be looking for. But like they don't spend. Like they've had the most cap space forever. Like it seems like they just take care of their own guys. They don't really like go out in free agency, kind of like what the Packers do, like or don't do. I think Indy needs to finally step up. Like obviously they got Wentz, but they need to step up and take them from a cute little AFC South 10-win contender and get up there with the big boys. I think they need to make a few like Kenny Galladay's and get a pass rusher that's can go opposite of what they have. Even you're probably not going to bring Justin Houston back, but I think they need to go and make a big splash on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, I do agree with that. Jacob, thanks for the call, man. And anyone else, if you want to call in, we may sneak in one more caller before the show's over.
Man, we're done.
Again, yeah, we're almost done. You're listening to Timeout with uSTADIUM. We're live every Thursday at 6 p.m. Make sure you subscribe to uSTADIUM on YouTube, and you'll get notified the next time we're live. Nick, I just wanted to throw a question out there, and then we're going to start answering questions also. So if you have questions, throw them in the stream. We'll do a rapid fire. So if you have any questions, and we'll answer this right after this. But, Nick, I'm looking at this PFF article, 2021 landing spots for the top 50 free agents. They have Kenny Galladay going to the Giants on a 4-year, $85 million contract. Do you really see a team giving Galladay that kind of money? I mean, they have money flying around with these wide receivers.
I think so because
crazy.
It's very rare that a guy like Galladay hits the open market. You don't often sign a guy who's just entering his prime, big play guy, has put it up on a bad team. He's shown that he can do it with the bad supporting cast. The Giants have been rumored to be interested in Galladay. I see them, the Dolphins, as potential landing spots. Like those are two teams that have been rumored to be interested in Galladay. I don't know why the Ravens don't go out and get a guy like him. Even like our Jets, like how do you not go out and get a 26-year-old guy who proved that he's one of the best receivers in the game when he's healthy and can take your offense to the next level? I don't know how everybody's not knocking down his door, but yeah, I think he's going to get paid like $18 million a year. I think he's it's really because he's available. He's the best of the bunch, and he's just the next one up who's going to a free agent will always get overpaid, like a top of the market guy. Like it's just what happens. You start a bidding war, and if his agent is any good, he's going to be able to, put a few teams together. Probably use a team like the Jets as leverage, saying like, well, they're offering us this, but he would rather play with your city. Give us $18 million a year, we'll sign here, and you leverage a team with a lot of money like the Jets and Jaguars into signing a deal with a team where he'd rather play for a little bit more money. So I think he definitely gets a big contract.
Nick, would you pay him if you were Joe Douglas?
Yeah.
You'd pay him that 4-year, $85 million?
I would. Yep.
The only thing that scares me about Kenny Galladay is injury concern. And same thing with Will Fuller. You're going to pay these guys both over $80 million, and maybe they won't, they'll play out half their contract. So I always get worried about that. But with that being said, rapid fire questions, and then we'll take our last caller if he stays on the line. And I think this is our next caller, by the way. Mamoon, stay on the line, and we'll get you on after we go through this rapid fire comment segment. But yeah, percentage chance Jets land Thuney. I would say 30-35%. I think he's the talk out there is that the Jets are the favorite to land, and we have the cap space. We're looking for a guard, someone that's versatile on the offensive line, and Douglas loves him. So yeah, I say 30-35. Nick says 40.
Yeah, I say 35-40 too, just because there's going to be other teams going out there for him who have the money too. But I know Joe Douglas was going to go all out for him last year. He was the one guy that they were willing to spend on. So I don't know why anything would change for sure. What did the Niners? So Dylan, I didn't hear what it was, but I'm assuming it's a 2 and something else. But they want him for sure. So I'm not going to be surprised if he ends up with the Niners. Free agents linked to the Jets. It's been quiet, man. And I think it's because the lack of the combine again, where you start to hear a lot of the smoke around some of these free agents. But I do know Akilo Witherspoon, Kawan Williams, the two corners that Saleh had in San Fran would probably come over here. Look along the lines of like the Saleh connections, like a Kerry Hyder would be another guy in the D line who they'd bring over, who wouldn't cost you much, who's a pretty good, sack guy who can be fill out the defensive line. So look at some of the 49ers. Don't look at Richard Sherman though. But look at some of the 49er players who can come over here. And on the offensive side of the ball, I guess you could do the same thing with LaFleur, but they're going to look to. I would be stunned if they don't end up with either Joe Thuney or Corey Linsley, one of those two guys in the line.
Yeah, and they're talking in house. What I've heard is they're talking in house about trying to really ramp up the front line on both sides. They want to get someone on the edge, and they want to get someone to play guard and potentially tackle. So, Nick, what do you think of Fant? You want to keep him at right tackle, or you want to?
I think so, because he is a little more athletic than you think of with it. When you think of Fant, he is a little more athletic, and that's what at least the Shanahan offense was built around these guys getting the athletic guys who can get out there. Doesn't make sense to cut him. You obviously don't need the cap space right now. Leicester, I don't see them paying big money to an older tackle. So I think they ride with Fant, probably draft somebody. Douglas is going to look to upgrade the offensive line every year. It's just the kind of guy that he is. Like, got his guy in Becton. Is going to look to get one of his guards in free agency and probably draft one. And then, probably just move on from Fant next year unless he comes in as a great year. But I think they'll keep him. Yeah,
I agree with that. All right, William Spano, our boy, Nick, your brother right here. Any second-tier guys you like after the Forest Mod Rush?
Yeah, I gave a few before. What do you like? Frank, you like those vets, right?
Yeah, I think the Jets bring in T.Y. Hilton. Bring in Hilton, have a guy who's played number one wide receiver. We don't yet know what Denzel Mims is going to offer. We don't know yet. Who knows? The better Mims is, the less pressure that would put on a number one wide receiver. But just bring in a number one wide receiver and not break the bank for one of them. I think the risk with taking a guy like Juju and spending a lot on a number one wide receiver is if you get a guy like Juju and Denzel's not who you thought he was, you're going to have that number one corner and that defense just shadowing Juju all game. What happened with him in Pittsburgh when that happened, when the threat of AB left? He doesn't perform to his number one level, and you're going to pay him like a number one receiver. So get a number one guy who's played before in other systems, someone that can come in and then see how good Denzel Mims is. I think AJ Green, someone else I'd look at, a veteran who's played the number one wide receiver. On the next to the number one wideout, I'm looking at tight ends. I'm looking at Hunter Henry, who's got a show on the uSTADIUM Live Network. Let's go. I'm looking at Jonnu Smith. I'm looking at Jared Cook. We need a tight end. Gerald Everett. I don't know what the hell happened with Chris Herndon. I was a big fan. We have to get a tight end in-house. There is no doubt we need someone that can come in, whether we draft one or we get one in free agency. We need a tight end. Chris Herndon's not the answer. I don't know what's up with that guy. I don't know if it's his head, if it's his health. It's probably a combination of both. I would not depend on Chris Herndon going into 2021. That's extremely risky because if Chris Herndon can't play tight end, it's going to affect your quarterback. It's going to affect your young quarterback potentially if we end up with Zach Wilson. It can be a disaster just because you didn't pay a tight end whatever money it costs, and it's never that much money to bring in a tight end for at least a few years. So, that's something.
I think they're definitely going to look to upgrade the tight end room, even if you want to give Herndon one more year with LaFleur's offense, and hopefully can get him out in space a bit and get him the ball, which can be a game breaker on offense. Even if you don't believe in Herndon, which I don't know anybody can at this point, but maybe you look to at least bring in some guys behind him and then just see what he's got and then move on next year. But I love Jamal Williams. I mean, that's the guy in the second tier that I like.
Look at this right here, Nick.
The whole family out here.
The family.
You know the answer.
All we need is Ann and Veet. If Veet's off his dang iPad,
I know. You let you on that. I'm gonna go with Watson, definitely. Russ is a little older. Wait, you're taking Russ?
Of course, I'm taking Russ. Russ, you gave me Deshaun Watson and Russell Wilson. It's Russell Wilson. It's probably Russell Wilson over anyone in the league besides Patrick Mahomes at this point. Russell Wilson's Russell Wilson, man. I mean, there's a reason why he was
33 and I don't know.
When you talk about elite
quarterbacks, a little better right now, but I think Watson can be better than him.
I don't know, man. I think when you talk about elite quarterbacks, Russell Wilson's in that conversation. I never heard anyone consider Deshaun Watson elite. It's become borderline. And sometimes there's a big step between being top 5 to 7 and then being elite in that top 2 or top 3 class. That jump is big sometimes. We've seen Wilson hit that jump. Can Deshaun? I'm sure he can. I love Deshaun Watson, but we haven't seen it yet. With Wilson, we have. So you 100% know what you're going to get with a guy like Russell Wilson. Deshaun, you're like 94 or 5% sure he could maybe not be as good as you think he is. With Wilson, I think you're guaranteed in terms of what he's going to bring.
I just think for the Jets, you have to factor in the age where they're at right now. You know, Wilson's got 3 years left of like high quality level play, probably maybe 3 to 4. I think Watson, you're talking about 10 years. So that's what's the ultimate kind of like deciding factor for me. Yeah, I agree with that. All right, so we're gonna end the show with the last caller of the night. We had what? 3 callers. We had 3 Jays. The last Jay talked about Bud, Jays and Bud. You know, that's what me and Nick do before the show. If you ever wonder or after, just hit up. Nick has a good guy out there, and his name's Miles. You know, the headphone almost came. Is it legal in New York yet?
I have no idea. I don't know what the hell New York's trying to do. In many ways, I don't know. I don't even. This isn't like a real place anymore.
We'll talk about that on a different show.
On the post game. All right, last caller of the night. We have, I think it's Mamoon is on currently trying to talk about what, my man? You're on live with Timeout with uSTADIUM. What's going on?
Mamoon, my man. What's up?
Mamoon, my man.
Are we pronouncing it right? Sorry, we don't want to botch it.
Yeah.
No, you're good. Big fans, by the way. Thanks for taking my call.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, man.
Really, you ready for the off season to finally start?
Yeah, man, I'm excited. My question is actually besides with Deshaun Watson. It's kind of a two-parter relating to the pro days. Do you think if you see the Texans, we hear stuff about them actually showing up to these pro days for Zach Wilson or Trey Lance or whatever? Because I know they're at the end of March or the end of this month actually. You think that's going to be like the sign? Okay, they're done. They're done with Deshaun Watson. It's over. We're going to trade him.
It's a good thought, and you know, a lot of teams, you know, even like you'll see the Chiefs, maybe not this year, but like probably not the Chiefs for an example because they have them for like a 10-year deal. But you'll see teams like the Giants last year, for example, they scouted Justin Herbert heavily. Like even though they had Daniel Jones, you also look towards potentially trades or free agency down the line. If a guy like you want to get to know the guy as good as possible. And you have so many different guys that you can send out there. But if the Texans are smart, I mean, they have to start. Like, even if like they're 100% sold on we're not trading this guy, you have to at least send. Even if you're going out there to look at a different player, like you got to have somebody with eyes on these quarterbacks. I mean, it's the due diligence part. But I'm sure, like you know, I know for a fact that they had somebody talk with Mac Jones at the Senior Bowl, the Texans. So they're going to do their homework on the quarterbacks, unless they're as bad of an organization as like, we all think they are. Like you just have to do it out of just like pure like diligence at this point. You have a 2-part, dude?
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. The other part was with the Jets. You think that's why the Jets are kind of holding out with Sam Darnold because they know they have to go to these pro days, so they can't even make a decision on him or trading for Deshaun Watson anyway.
Yeah, I think that's probably what it is now. They just want to. You know, they do a ton of they go through the tape from this year, the tape from last year. They call around, they do their backgrounds, you know, which goes as in depth as you know any kind of business or organization does. But you know, they want to get their hands on the guy. They want to see him right. You know, see how the ball comes off his hands, see how he moves around on the under center in the pocket and throws the ball on the run with their own 2 eyes right in front of him. So yeah, you know, so you can sit here as fans and say, you know, pro days are overrated. They're in, you know, shorts, no pads, throwing against air. But like, you know, these coaches and the staffs, like they want to see all those things, see how they interact with other players there, see how they interact with coaches, interview him. You know, I don't know if they're going to be allowed to go out to dinner that night with a guy like Wilson or, you know, Fields, but you know, just that one-on-one interaction, which you don't get on tape, obviously. But I think once you get, and the medicals with these guys are huge, obviously. You know, once in which that would have been done at the combine, you would have been able to get a feel for it. So I think they're probably going to wait for that, unless you know they get a deal that they feel like, all right, you know, I think once Douglas said we'll take calls on Darnold, you knew that was it. Like you don't go out and say that. Like they'd never said, even what Matt Rule said about Teddy, like Teddy's our starting quarterback. You never, even if the Jets were bullshitting, you didn't hear them say that about Darnold. So It's a matter of when it happens. I think they've made the decision that they're going to move on from him, but I think they'll take their time because there is no rush. They'll be able to tell free agents, like, this is our plan at quarterback. We're either going to have Watson or Wilson or Fields. So sign here or whatever. We're going to pay you X amount. So I don't think it'll have a huge kind of outcome on what they do in free agency, but I think they do want to at least see these guys, in person before they make that ultimate decision.
Nick, let's get your little breakdown, or let's get a little ranking here for the Jets. You have Watson, Russell Wilson, Zach Wilson,
Darnold,
Sam Darnold, and Fields. If you had to lay it out,
who I want or what I think.
Your dream number 1 to 6. I think we just named six options.
1 Watson, 2 Zach Wilson, 3 Russell Wilson, 4 Justin Fields, 4 Darnold, 5 Fields, 6 the rest.
Are you serious? You would rather have Sam Darnold than Justin Fields?
Yes.
That is insane to me. We're going to argue this next show because we ran out of time. That is insanity. Justin Fields has proven at
nothing
every step of the way. At every step of the way. No. Justin Fields went into the biggest game of his life and threw for 6. Was it 6 touchdowns or 7? You couldn't even count at that point. He outplayed Trevor Lawrence. He is a gamer in every step of the way. He can run. He can throw. He's got a cannon. Sam Darnold proved nothing in college at USC. Didn't prove a damn thing. Just like Sanchez, he had maybe one game, the Rose Bowl, which everyone was crying over. Justin Fields is getting disrespected. I'm telling you, a team that gets him, and he's probably going to drop to like 7 to 10 range, you'll see, is gonna look at him later and say, maybe this guy had the whole package like Justin Herbert.
You're a lot higher on him than I am. Why I would say Darnold is because you have the 2 years at very affordable, still very affordable. You would pray that LaFleur is able to kind of do a control-alt-delete on Darnold and what he's been, all the toxicity that he's had with the Jets, and surround him with a Jamar Chase, Kyle Pitts, whatever, and use those draft picks or maybe even trade back a little bit and stack more picks and surround him with as good of a team as you possibly could, because I had Darnold as a better prospect coming in than I have Fields, and I have him equal with Wilson, and for the sake of the contract and getting a rookie in here is why I would go Wilson over Darnold.
Yeah, I mean, that's we'll see. We'll see what happens. But the madness starts on Monday, and the tampering period opens up, so teams can start unofficially signing players. So make sure you follow us on all social media at uSTADIUM. Download the uSTADIUM app, the quickest push notifications in the game.
Turn those notifications on.
Baby, Fuego notifications, uSTADIUM, the Fuego Noties. Make sure you get that app. And yeah, we'll be maybe we'll do a show during free agency, but you can check out Timeout with uSTADIUM every Thursday at 6 p.m. We're taking calls now, so you can call in. We had 4 or 5 callers on tonight. Thanks for your time, everyone out there. And yeah, we'll catch you guys next week. Enjoy your weekend and be safe. Later. Be safe, unlike me. Later.
Yeah.